Hello, my name is Jennifer Rupp and I am the Associate Director of the KU Writing Center. Today I'm going to talk to you about the process of writing a research paper. So, what are we going to talk about today? We are going to focus on how to conduct a research project. So this includes how to choose your topic and write a research question, how to use research to enter the scholarly conversation, how to balance your ideas with the research you found, and lastly, referencing your research. So, you've probably heard a lot about the writing process in the past and know already that it includes many steps from brainstorming to editing. Many people consider research just one step in this process. However, when writing a research paper, research is actually involved in every step of the writing process. The pre-writing stage involves coming up with a topic and crafting your research plan. The research stage itself is where you actually collect, read, and evaluate your sources. Drafting involves organizing your research around your own ideas and integrating evidence from the sources. Revising might involve reorganizing research into areas of the paper where it is needed. And editing and proofreading involves correcting and confirming your citations. So first, before you do anything else, you need to decide on a topic. Generally, students start with a broad idea of what they want to research, and then the goal is to narrow it down in a way that allows you to make an interesting observation or argument about a subfield of that topic. The size of your topic often depends on the length of the paper. The shorter your paper, the more specific your topic needs to be. For example, if you're interested in doing some research on cancer, cancer itself is a very large topic, something that many books are written about. So if you have a 5 to 7 page paper, it's probably too large of a topic for that paper. You might think about what areas of cancer interest you. Maybe deciding that the treatment of cancer, and then you need to still get more specific, one particular treatment, such as chemotherapy. And if you feel like you need to go further than that, you might think about different demographics, timeframes, or subtopics of that area as well. So maybe just focusing on chemotherapy for elderly women would be a more appropriate topic for the size of this essay. Once you have decided on a topic, you will then want to formulate a question that will direct your research. We often call this a research question. This will be what you answer in your thesis statement of the ultimate paper. You want to choose a question that is open-ended and arguable. Therefore, don't ask a yes or no question to answer in your paper. You might start your question with something like how. So how does X affect Y? To what extent does X affect Y? In what ways does X happen? All of these are open-ended questions, which mean that gives you a lot of information to actually discuss in your paper. If you are struggling to write your research question, you might actually do a little bit of reading from some sources first and see what questions arise as you look at those sources. This question can and probably will change over time. You may start with one research question and then see that there isn't enough information on it as you wanted. Or maybe there's too much information and it's overwhelming. Or you may find a subtopic that is more interesting and change directions. That's fine. As you continue your research, it's okay to adjust and adapt as you go along. That is part of this process. You may also start with a research question, and as you are continuing your paper, come up with additional small research questions along the way, particularly where there are gaps in your evidence, such as you want to talk about a particular topic in a paragraph, but you have no evidence to support it. So you might look for evidence in sources that specifically addresses that topic. Now that you have a research question, you can actually start doing your research. Part of this is determining what types of sources you will need for this particular project. This will depend a bit on your particular class, professor, assignment, or even the field you're writing in. Your instructor can clarify what is required for this project. That may include different types of sources and different types of information. The types of information might be things like statistics, data, personal reflections, archival research, news reports, interviews, and the types of sources may vary by project as well. One professor may require that you only use peer-reviewed journal articles, while another may require that you actually go out and do your own experiments. Another thing to think about is how much research you need to do and how long you have to complete your topic. All of these will change how you do your project a little bit. How many sources do you need? How large is your topic? If you only need 3 sources, you don't need to be spending many hours finding 15 sources. If your topic is fairly small, you need fewer sources than if your topic is quite large. If your paper is due in a week, that also gives you less time to do extensive research, whereas if it's due in a month, you might be spending more time in this research stage and finding more sources for your project. One thing you might not know is that the KU Writing Center has an assignment planner on our website. This is a great little tool that will let you put in the start date of your project and the end date, and then it will provide a list of all the steps of the process and how long you should spend on them. So it gives you some management of deadlines for yourself, such as you should have a topic by this date. You should have done research by this date. You should have a rough draft by the following date. So if time management is not your strong suit, this would be a great tool to use from the writing.ku.edu website. While you are doing your research, you also need to think about how reliable the sources you are finding are. In writing a research paper, you become the source of your sources, meaning your reader trusts you to give them the most accurate synthesis of the topic, and so your research must be varied and reliable in order to paint a full picture. Try to find sources from a variety of places, by different authors, from different publications, from different areas and professions, and so on. The sources also must be reliable. For example, things like peer-reviewed and published journal articles are very reliable because they are reviewed by other experts in that field. Published books, reputable newspapers and magazines are also very reliable sources of information. However, there are a lot of things online that may or may not be reliable. So you have to question them a little bit more. Think about who the author is, where it's published, and what types of information are in that source. As you probably already know, Wikipedia or anything else that anyone can contribute to are not considered reliable sources, though they can be a jumping off point to additional sources by using the references within those websites. All of these can be found at the KU libraries. So our KU library has an extensive database of online resources as well as obviously published resources like books. Using the KU libraries is a good way to find reliable resources versus using the internet. If you aren't sure how to go about this research process, there are also research librarians that you can meet with just like you would meet with a writing consultant. Please look at the KU Library's website to find more information on scheduling a meeting with a research librarian.